What's all that about? Are you mad? You'll antagonize him. Let's just get them out of here.
They're not going to go away, Harry. They're here to find out who killed Father. Besides, if anyone's behaving stupidly, it's you. With all your yes, sir, no, sir nonsense.
Oh, you're so smart. So calm. But if I'm so stupid, how come I'm where I am and you're where you are, Jimmy boy? How come I'm the big cheese around here?
Yeah, the place was heaving. They're all up here living it, you know. But listen, I've checked with the local rag. They make out Morse as a hotshot. Bags of copy. I'm telling you, we have hit a seam here. Yeah? What? You what? Yeah, we can do it if you like. Yeah, no. Yeah? Look, everybody's gonna do this money bags murder angle. Be done to death. This is different. Yeah, but look, this man is a natural target. He calls a bimbo madam. He tells me what we should give the punters, and guess what? He's an Oxford man. No, I mean, he actually went to Oxford. Yeah, exactly. So we give it a go? Right, thank you. Goodbye. You must be mad. I mean, who's going to be interested in a copper? Well, I am, Charlie. And he's not just a copper, is he? He's part of this. So was you. Only I heard you didn't finish it.
Chief Inspector Morse. Mrs. Cliff?
No. She's in the back garden.
Before the power of starting every aspect of this. In looking at the history of mankind, anthropologists tell us of nations, tribes, clans, and classes.
Chief Inspector Morse.
Thank you, Jessica. I told Emily I'd call and see her. Is she all right?
She seemed so, yes.
I'm not sure there's much I can tell you, Chief Inspector. I left at the same time as Mr. Rydale and got home about midnight.
Lady Balcom implied that there was someone missing from the party. Someone she loved. I spoke to the maid.
It's not what you think, Chief Inspector. Emily had a child when she was about 40. And the baby died when it was just a few hours old, and she's never quite gotten over it. I think that's what she was referring to.
You obviously know the family quite well. Have you lived here long?
Live here? I should be so lucky. No, I rent the cottage twice, sometimes 3 times a year. Have done for the past 15 years. I work in a hospital near Durham, where I have a rather nondescript semi with a lawn the size of a postage stamp.
Then I'm twice wrong.
Oh?
You have a secretary, a dictaphone. I thought you were a writer.
Well, you're half right, Chief Inspector. I was published some years ago, but my outpourings sank without trace. Family matters.
I'm sorry?
That's my field, the family.
A perfect setting for an author, I would have thought.
Yes. I love it here. And so near Oxford.
You studied there?
For my degree, yes. My doctorate, well, that was Cambridge.
Foot in both camps.
There's a call for you.
Thank you. Morse. I'm on my way, Lewis. Thank you. Excuse me. Perhaps we can talk some other time.
Well, we're always here.
Told you the police would come.
Of course he came. There's been a murder. I was at the house. It's just...
Oh, don't give me that. They'll blame me. They always do. I shouldn't have come here. You shouldn't have brought me.
It was found in the moat here, sir. Could only have been tossed in from the lawn, not from the house. And Harry Balcom was the only one that was outside.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Lewis. Let's make sure this is what killed him.
There's little doubt, Chief Inspector, this is your murder weapon. The shape matches perfectly with the contours of the dead man's wound.
It's not the sort of thing you'd hammer a nail in with, is it?
The stonemasons, I'd say. There were heavy traces of sandstone on the shaft and in the joints. I've had less luck with this little item. Partial prints from the deceased, but everything else was badly smudged.
What can you tell us?
It's a reasonably expensive pen, but the place of origin was stamped on the inside. It was made in Montreal.
Do you know when it was made?
Not precisely. Roughly 20 years ago.
I hope your visit's necessary, Morse. Mummy's not to be troubled needlessly.
We have some information on the pen we found.
It was manufactured in Montreal. Has anyone in the family ever been there? Or anyone you know?
I've never been there.
I've always avoided travel, Chief Inspector.
You've been there, Harry, surely.
Well, that was years ago. Anyway, it was Toronto.
Well, they're hardly worlds apart, Harry.
Now listen, you little shit!
Please excuse my son's language, Chief Inspector.
Oh, don't you apologize for me. It's him. He started it. Well, what's he trying to do? Ask him that.
Steady on, for God's sake, Harry. You were there. It's best to be honest about it.
I went on a business trip to Toronto, Chief Inspector. But I didn't buy any pens. If that's the reason you've come here, I'm afraid you've wasted your time.
There is something else, Mr. Balcom. We found the murder weapon.
It was found very near the house here.
What was it?
A hammer, sir. The kind used by a stonemason.
Well, we must hope you have similar luck catching the killer.
We must indeed, Mr. Balcom.
If it was one of the Balcoms, the odds have to be on Harry, sir.
Yes, but to throw the hammer into the moat, Lewis, he must have known we'd look there.
Maybe he had no option. The body was discovered quite quickly. When the girl started screaming, he had to dump the hammer somewhere.
Well, there's no doubt there's something worrying him.
What do you suppose they're saying?
How should I know?
Steady, Jimmy. Not so cocky now, are we?
It's nothing. Coincidence, that's all. What else could it be?
I hope you're right about this. Well, nothing's certain, Charlie. Only death. Look at this place, Charlie. Look at it. Now, what we do is the real world. Millions read me every day. Millions. How many of these plonkers and their colleges can say that? And our Inspector Morse reeks of all this. I mean, madam, indeed. Madam. Well, let's hope our inspector gets a very early result.
What is this?
I'd call it bland and inoffensive, but a timely reminder of our vulnerability.
It's about me. It's irrelevant. What has this to do with the inquiry?
I somehow suspect that'll depend on you, Morse.
How can they print this?
Well, they have. And what they say reflects upon us all. You do well to remember that, Morse.
They've written about me in the paper, Lewis. Not about the inquiry. About me.
Fame can weigh heavy. Listen, I wouldn't take it seriously.
No, you're right.
Sir, the argument the Balcoms had on the night of the party, couldn't Harry's motive stem from that?
If he is our man, Lewis. Do you suppose Rydale could be more specific?
I doubt if there's much gets past Mr. Ryder. Yes, Lewis. Yeah, okay. Miss Jessica White to see you.
She'd better come up.
They've put her in an interview room.